Hello, welcome back to Watches and Politics. I'm your host, Edi Shipoli. Imagine an industry that ruled the world for centuries, only to nearly collapse in less than a decade. That's what happened to Swiss watchmaking industry in the 1970s. A single invention, the quartz watch, didn't just change how people told time. It unleashed one of the biggest economic and political upheavals in modern horology, the Quartz Crisis for the Swiss and the Quartz Revolution for the Japanese. In 1969, Seiko unveiled the Seiko Astron, the world's first quartz wristwatch. Instead of gears and springs, it relied on the vibration of quartz crystal to keep time. The result? Accuracy within 5 seconds a month, a level no mechanical watch could match. And it wasn't just more precise. Quartz watches were cheaper to produce, more durable, and could be mass manufactured. Within a few years, Japanese brands like Seiko and Citizen were flooding the world market, offering stylish, affordable watches to a new generation of consumers. For centuries, Switzerland has been the heart of watchmaking. The Vallée de Joux, Geneva, Neuchâtel, these places were synonymous with artistry and precision. But Swiss makers underestimated something: the quartz. They saw it as a novelty rather than as a threat. By the mid-1970s, reality hit hard. Sales of mechanical watches plummeted. Factories closed. Brands that had once defined horology, such as Zenith, Eterna, even Omega, they teetered on bankruptcy. Unemployment soared. Nearly 60% of Switzerland's watchmaking global market share was gone, and thousands of skilled craftsmen and craftswomen, they lost their job for nearly a decade. This wasn't just an industrial crisis that we're talking about. For Switzerland, watches were national identity, export strength, and cultural pride. Losing the industry meant losing face on the world stage. So the Swiss government and major banks stepped in. Credit Suisse, UBS, and others funneled capital into emergency mergers. The idea was simple: consolidate dozens of failing brands into larger, more stable groups. The turning point came in 1983 with businessman Nicholas Hayek. Backed by banks and government support, Hayek launched the Swatch Group. His vision? Fight Japan on its own terms with a playful, colorful, affordable quartz watch, the Swatch, while protecting luxury icons like Omega, Longines, and Breguet. Swiss banks, including UBS and Credit Suisse, played a crucial role in financing the recovery of the Swiss watch industry. Providing the capital needed to restructure the watch industry in Switzerland, they made it. The Swiss government recognized the cultural and economic importance of watchmaking to the country's identity, and it provided subsidies and facilitated industry-wide cooperation. These political decisions by the Swiss government, banks, and entrepreneurs have proven how important policies and politics are for the future of the watchmaking industry. The rise of quartz wasn't just about technology. It was about geopolitics. Japan's post-war economic boom, fueled by US Marshall Plan and Recover programs, and the Cold War trade partnerships, had turned the nation into an export powerhouse. As Japan became a major economic ally of the United States, it enjoyed preferential trade conditions that helped boost its global exports, including, but not only, watches. Japanese quartz production dwarfed Switzerland's. By the 1980s, millions of quartz watches were being exported every year. To the global middle class, they were cheap, reliable, and modern. But quartz didn't kill mechanical watches. Instead, it transformed them. By the 1990s, in less than a decade, something surprising happened. Collectors, enthusiasts, and growing luxury market, especially in Asia, rediscovered the artistry of mechanical horology. That's why brands like Patek Philippe, Rolex, Audemars Piguet, Jaeger-LeCoultre, and Vacheron Constantin repositioned themselves. Their watches weren't tools anymore as previously. They were symbols of heritage, luxury, and status. Campaigns like the well-known Patek Philippe's famous line, "You never actually own a Patek Philippe, you merely look after it for the next generation," reframed Swiss watches as heirlooms and resonated for the Asian market. Like the mass production of watch parts that started in the United States, many thought that the quartz watches meant the end of the Swiss watchmaking. However, to the contrary, both developments turned to be more profitable for the Swiss watch brands despite the long time it took them to come there. At the same time, Asia's economies were exploding. Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and later China produced a new class of millionaires eager for symbols of success. Swiss brands seized the moment. Audemars Piguet relaunched the Royal Oak. Patek Philippe expanded in Asia. Jaeger-LeCoultre, the watchmaker's watchmaker, sold high complication masterpieces to collectors in Tokyo and Hong Kong. The economic boom didn't just save luxury watchmaking, it elevated it to the new heights. What quartz had threatened global demand for mechanical prestige revived. Like the Industrial Revolution in America, the Asian economic boom created wealth Asian industrialists and businessmen, as well as an elevated middle class. Although mechanical watches made a comeback in the 1990s, Swiss manufacturers also realized the importance of embracing quartz technology to remain competitive in the broader market. Many brands began blending the precision of quartz with artistry of mechanical movements to create hybrid watches. Swatch Group, under the leadership of Nicolas Hayek, continued to dominate the Swiss quartz market with an affordable and colorful Swatch, while its luxury brands focused on mechanical innovations. Some brands successfully combined both worlds, catering to both quartz and mechanical watch enthusiasts and collectors. The Quartz Crisis was never just about watches. It was about economics, politics, and identity. Switzerland's government intervention, Japan's industrial strategy, and global Cold War trade all shaped this outcome. In the end, Switzerland survived by reinventing itself, doubling down on luxury, while still competing with quartz through the Swatch. Japan reshaped global horology, proving that technology could topple centuries of tradition. And the world learned that watches are never just neutral objects. They're symbols, symbols of power, diplomacy, and economic survival. Through the 20th century, the evolution of watchmaking has been tightly woven into the fabric of global economic and cultural developments. The trajectory of the industry was dictated not by only technological advancements, but by world-shaping events like the two world wars and the Quartz Crisis, each of which had far-reaching consequences for how watches were designed, manufactured, and perceived. These disruptions reshaped the entire landscape of horology, illustrating that watchmaking, at its core, is not only about precision and craftsmanship, but also a reflection of geopolitical power, economic trends, and cultural shifts. The Quartz Crisis nearly ended Swiss watchmaking, but it also transformed it, proving that even in the face of disruption, tradition can adapt and survive. The story of watches mirrors the broader story of globalization and economic shift. From Japan's post-war economic miracle to Switzerland's strategic response to the Quartz Crisis, the watch industry reflects how countries position themselves in the global market. This historical narrative is particularly relevant today as global trade continues to shape industries, economies, and cultural values for that matter. Watches, after all, don't just tell time. They tell the story of nations, economies, and power. And in our next episode, we'll explore how watches became instruments of diplomacy, gifts of power exchanged by monarchs, presidents, and leaders to seal alliances and display prestige. So make sure you don't miss it, and see you in the next episode.